Hello, and let me tell you about PearDeck. PearDeck helps you increase student engagement and formally assess your students by souping up your Google Slides. You can see all the fun happening in the fruit bowl by following at PearDeck and searching up the hashtag #ShareTheBear. And this is not the end of the puns with PearDeck. Even shy students who would never raise their hands will participate on a PearDeck activity because they can easily do it from their device. Students who are quieter or take longer to process get to share their ideas equally with students who speak up and process quickly. Not only is this great for the quiet students, but it's great for the outgoing students. Sometimes these students think they have to answer because no one else will or no one else can. They go through school thinking they're always right and never hearing another opinion. When you let everybody answer and share those answers anonymously on the projector view, suddenly every student's idea matters and they have the opportunity to learn from each other. While answers are always anonymous on the projector view, that doesn't mean you can't see what students are doing. When you use the teacher dashboard on a different window or device, you can see students' answers as they are thinking. Start exemplars or misconceptions to discuss, block out inappropriate answers, review your speaker notes, and control the slides from anywhere in the room. As your class is settling in or at the beginning of your lessons, get students engaged right away. You can start the lesson with an open-ended question to assess their understanding of the topic. What do they know? Right away, students are thinking about the material and connecting it to prior knowledge. Or you can have them type their own questions and tap into their own curiosity. This is an example of an open-ended question to get students thinking. There isn't an exact right answer. By looking at the map and tapping prior knowledge, students can type some educated guesses. Follow up with another prompt asking them, what do you want to know to answer this question more fully? Instead of telling them why the Fertile Crescent was the birthplace of early civilization, you are getting them to think critically about it. During the meat of the lesson, get students engaged in the material by estimating, thinking, discussing, and applying their knowledge. Each time you prompt students, you're also doing a little formative assessment and gathering insight into how well they're getting it. Here's an example of an estimation question using the numbers question. Many students might be shy about making a guess because they're afraid they'll be wrong and look silly. So often, only the most outgoing will participate. With PearDeck, you can get every student making a guess on their own screen. When you share the answers, they're anonymous, so no one feels singled out. And you also get the benefit of a wide range of guesses. So you can discuss what's the median. This was a hard question. You might have thought it was impossible to know, and yet no one guessed. 100 miles. Why? In this way, you can work on their number sense and also facilitate metacognitive thinking by asking questions like, how could we figure it out? What could you do in order to figure it out? Here's an example of how to do a quick check for understanding with a diagram. You can replace the bees with any image and move the numbered boxes around as needed or add more. Students can label a map, a cross-section, parts of a sentence, anything you want. This template makes it easy to set up. This is a graphing template. You can change the prompt and axis to match your content. When you display the answers, you can overlay the graphs on top of each other to quickly see the differences in responses. You can also put in a quick check-in to see if we're all together. In this template, students can drag the dot to indicate how they're doing. Display answers as an overlay to get a quick heat map. If you're seeing a lot of dots on the yellow or red, that's a great indication to slow down and ask some scaffolded questions. It also helps students to feel less alone and more empowered to speak up if they see that others are struggling too. And you can change the prompt and the feelings to fit your class. Here's another example of a multiple choice activity. Here's a matching template. You can change the words and definitions to match your content. And look, it's an example in a world language. You can create custom slides to ask any kind of question. Here's a way to use a draggable slide to have students indicate a spot on an image. In this case, we want students to mark a map. When I display the answers, I can see a quick heat map to see if my students know it or not. This template lets a student drag a dot to agree or disagree, or something in between. Make a claim. Show a student a passage. Let them consider their own opinion about it. Display the answers and discuss different points of view to build empathy and practice debating opposing viewpoints with reason and honesty. The mind mapping template lets students map out ideas to draw connections and conclusions. You can put the central idea of the lesson in the middle of the circle and let students add ideas as the lesson and discussion continues. When you review these maps later, you'll get a sense of which students are drawing rich connections and which ones might be struggling to understand the full picture. Finally, if you want students to explore another website, you can embed it into your PearDeck slide, as long as it's a secure site. For example, you can send them off to an Edpuzzle. Finally, at the end of your lesson, give students time to reflect on what they've learned. Students retain more when they've had the chance to think about a new lesson and put it in their own words. Just as important as directly practicing the new skill is articulating it. This is also a great exit ticket opportunity for you to be able to see what students are taking away from the lesson. Are they picking up on the most important components? Here's a simple template that lets students try to condense down the most important part of the lesson in their own words. You can mix it up with this template that lets students draw the important lessons. Or have an emotional check-in. You can also sprinkle this one throughout the lesson to see students are with you or if they're feeling confused. Feature templates offer prompts to help students hone their critical thinking skills. This critical thinking template helps students understand other people's points of view. You can help them hone that skill by asking them to consider a specific topic. First, ask what their own opinion or belief is. Then ask them to consider what someone else might believe. If they can't think of other points of view, have the students pair up and share their thinking, and then record the other person's perspective in the space provided. Exploring different approaches to a problem is an important creative thinking skill. Add your own question to this slide to have students ponder how to approach it. This is particularly good for open-ended problems. For example, asking, how might we show parents what we learned this year? Will let students share creative ideas for end-of-the-year projects. Being able to draw a conclusion after hearing new information is an important skill. Ask the students to articulate the conclusions they are drawing from the new information. Show the responses anonymously on the projector screen to see if students came to different conclusions, and then discuss. PearDeck is a Google Drive app, so it integrates with your other Google tools. For example, each PearDeck file is a Drive file, so you can organize it and collaborate on it in real time, just like a Google Doc. You can even add interactive PearDeck questions and pre-made templates directly from Google Slides. Ah, the fastest way to get started is to open up a slides file you've made, click add-ons, get PearDeck, and let it roll. As you can see in this animation, the templates for different points of the lesson appear and you can add them in. And of course, when you're going to do this with your students, always click Present with PearDeck. The slide library has as I said, many pre-made templates that you can edit to make your slides juicier. And you can create your own questions by using one of these protocols. When you're in If you are able to use two different devices, these are the controls on the teacher dashboard. So you can see where you are and toggle things, lock the screen, add a new question that you hadn't thought of to doing so you can change your lesson, improve your lesson on the fly. And there's also the settings menu, which are in PearDeck that you can toggle on and off in your account. So this is a view of the teacher dashboard. On the left, you see the slide previews. This shows you what slides are coming up. And as you can see, the student answers are over here in the bigger part of the window, and you can see them as they're coming. And if you want to share them on the projector screen, you can click project and it will remove their names. Or you can star which particular answers you want to show instead of showing everyone's. All right, you can also change the layout of the responses by clicking different choices at the top of the teacher dashboard. This is the grid layout. This is the overlay layout, so you can see where the tractors are, if students got it or not. And when you end the session, you can choose to use student takeaways. These are individual notes documents that you can publish for each one of your students. When you end the PearDeck session, each student will get their own Google Doc that is editable. They can see each slide from the lesson as well as their responses to the question. There's spots for reflection and summary, so this is great for homework to have them go through and reflect on what they learned. Since it's a Google Doc produced by your account, you own the document. You can go in and make comments on your students' work and share it with parents or tutors if you feel the need to. But you can only do this if you have takeaways turned on. And PearDeck will make a folder in your Google Drive called PearDeck. One folder, and inside that folder will be a folder called Decks, where are the decks you've made, and another one called Takeaways. So you can always find your takeaways there from your sessions. And there's also a blank takeaway for the session for students who miss class, so they don't miss out on what you've done. After class, you can always get back to your PearDeck session through the menu in the PearDeck Launchpad. This is by logging into the PearDeck website. You can also publish the takeaways from there, export data to a spreadsheet for easier grading, or you can review the answers through the dashboard. Two ways to engage students through PearDeck. One is through Google Slides, which is what I presented in this video. And there's also the PearDeck Vocab Flashcard Factory, which is a collaborative flashcard making game. So you upload a list of vocabulary. The students log in. It randomly assigns them to a factory team and assigns them to a partner. And the vocab will appear on their screen. And one student will have to draw what the vocab word means. And the other student will have to use it in a sentence. And then the next word appears, they switch roles. And on the main screen, you'll see a little factory scene going on. And then when everyone is done, you go through and you review all the flashcards. So basically, each team made flashcards for each vocab word. And we go through, you debrief, we throw away we discard, that's a better word, the words that didn't work out. And so now we have this vocabulary flashcard with definition, image, and sentence. And you can export this to Quizlet so that they can practice some more on their own. It's a lot of fun. And here are resources. I will link these below so you can read more about it. And thanks for watching.